This is Julian, and this week's book is Antifragile, Things That Gain from Disorder by Nassim Taleb. And the big idea here, as the title suggests, is that there are some things, contrary to popular belief, that benefit from, say, disorder, chaos, randomness, variability, volatility, error, chance, turmoil. And these things are basically the opposite of fragile. If you take a porcelain cup and you expose that cup to, say, volatility, it won't benefit from that. Yet there is no word for these things. You may think, well, what about robust or resilient? But the robust and the resilient, they don't really benefit from disorder. They pretty much remain the same. They'll resist, for example, the shocks, but they don't thrive, they don't grow when they're put into that very turbulent and volatile environment. And to quote the book here, let us call these things anti-fragile. So what are some of these things? Because you're probably thinking right now, well, I don't like disorder. I don't know anything that would like disorder. What could possibly benefit from disorder? But let's start with you. More precisely, let's start with your body. What do you do when you go to the gym? Take a second to think about it. What are you actually doing going to the gym? You're exposing your body to disorder, chaos, turmoil. He calls these stressors, by the way. You're basically exposing yourself to stressors and growing in the process. If you just sat at home and did nothing, you wouldn't grow. You grow, you thrive through stressors. And this applies to you physically, but also mentally. A great quote from the book is, how do you innovate? Get yourself in trouble. And I talk about this as well in a product of mine. I'm like, hey, just jump in. You don't know the solution yet, you don't know what's going to happen, jump in and trust that once you've jumped in, once you've passed that point of no return, your mind will kick into higher gear because of these stressors, and you will come up with the solution. You will find that answer. We tend to think that innovation, or even inventions come from us just sitting in the comfort of our homes. It's like, oh, all nice and comfortable, all the time in the world, all the resources in the world, and once all that's set, let's put our minds to it, in a very nice, safe, and predictable environment. Fuck no, Innovation comes from necessity. It's when you just don't have a choice, And guess what? Even me with this video here, I'm releasing this video a couple hours from now. I'm literally recording this, immediately putting it out. In a way, I kind of waited till the last minute, but now I have to. It's like, hey, you gotta record it now. Mind kicks into higher gear, I fucking do it. If I'm gonna launch a product, I get myself a fucking deadline. It's like, hey, here's the deadline. If I had all the time in the world, I would take all the time in the world. Innovation comes from necessity. Beware of comfort. Beware if there aren't any stressors. Beware if things are too easy. What he says here is that absence of challenge degrades the best of the best. If there are no challenges, why would you even step it up? Abundance is a lot harder to handle for us than scarcity. So, in a way, we are anti-fragile. We are beings that benefit from chaos, disorder, volatility, so on and so forth. Some other things would be crowds. If you take a crowd, for example, that's blinded by anger or outrage, or fueled by heroism, or just willing to sacrifice their lives for a cause, like let's say a fucking riot, that type of crowd is anti-fragile. The more you try to repress that crowd, and that's the sucker's game. He says, hey, just trying to repress it using brute force, it becomes stronger. And you've probably seen this on the fucking news. It's like, hey, there's a riot, police come, it's like, hey, no, no, no. It just infuriates people more. It's like, you know what, fuck it. It's like, hey, that's anti-fragile. The same with criticism, that's anti-fragile, to say repression. Curiosity, it's magnified by attempts to satisfy it. Information is anti-fragile. It feeds more on attempts to harm it than it does on efforts to promote it. A little test you can do is just tell someone you know a piece of information. It doesn't matter what it is, but tell that person, hey, this is a secret. Don't tell anyone. Please don't tell anyone. This is very, just don't. And you'll see how that information gets passed around. First, you've been like, hey, can you pass this information around? You trying to pass around? No, if you try to repress it, boom, that shit's gonna fucking spread like wildfire. The same with books that are banned, for example. Everyone wants to read the banned books. And kind of linking this to criticism, it's not so much what is said, let's just say about the book, it's the effort put in. So it doesn't matter if it's bad. If everyone's like, fuck this, we hate this book, it's like, hey, why is there so much effort or energy in a way around this book? And suddenly that information is valuable, so you're probably going to seek it out. Okay, a system can be anti-fragile. For example, let's just take a collective of local restaurants. Okay, and this one's very interesting. So there are different layers. The collective of restaurants, let's say you take a block, there's all the restaurants there, that collective is anti-fragile. However, the restaurants within the system, in a way, are fragile here. Okay, so for example, you have two restaurants, or a few, they're like very competitive, they're fighting with each other, the weak restaurant gets weeded out. So the restaurants are fragile, but because of the fact that they're fragile, now there's that competition, and the system in and of itself grows. Now the standard for quality food is much higher, and the collective is anti-fragile. The collective benefits from that turmoil, okay? And this is important to understand, okay? Some parts on the inside of a system may be required to be fragile in order to make the system anti-fragile as a result. And in a way here too, you can kind of apply this to the way the world works. Okay, in a system, the sacrifices of some units are often necessary for the well-being of the other units or the whole. Okay, organisms need to die for nature to be anti-fragile. So these here are some examples, okay, but in general, a way you can make this distinction between the anti-fragile and the fragile, typically is the living versus the non-living. Okay, for example, you, me, humans, okay, anything that's alive, we benefit from stressors versus something that is non-living or material, okay, like the porcelain cup. Okay, the porcelain cup will endure fatigue or break. Okay, so biological, non-biological, but you can actually go more in depth. Okay, and what he says here is it's really the difference between the complex and the non-complex. Okay, the complex being some characteristics: self-healing, loves randomness, okay, have small variations, needs recovery between stressors, okay, too few stressors is bad and too many is bad as well. What he says here is it's better to walk and sprint versus just constantly jogging, and this is huge, okay, a big misinterpretation when it comes to anti-fragility is, well, anything that's a stressor is good for me, I just want more and more stressors. Not really, okay, if it's too big of a stressor, that's bad because you won't survive it. Okay, it's that quote, hey, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger, as long as it doesn't kill you. And you do need time to recover in between. Okay, if you're just blasted stressor, it's like, no, it's like going to the gym like nonstop, you're gonna destroy yourself. Okay, so you need time to recover, huge. Okay, this is one of the conditions of anti-fragility. Okay, high degree of interdependence, the absence of stressors cause atrophy, ages with disuse, and overcompensates from shocks. Okay, for the complex, the anti-fragile, a state of normalcy requires a certain degree of volatility, randomness, the continuous swapping of information, and stress. Now for the non-complex, okay, the fragile, needs continuous repair and maintenance, hates randomness, no need for recovery, no or little interdependence, stressors cause material fatigue, ages with use, okay, wear and tear, and undercompensates from shocks. Okay, so this is the way you can really make the difference: anti-fragile, complex, fragile, non-complex. Now, how does understanding this benefit you? Okay, because you may get it, you're like, okay, I understand. How does this apply to me? Okay, well, first of all, beware, okay, of our denial of anti-fragility. Okay, and this is huge in the society that we're currently living in. There's a huge denial of this, and we're trying to fragilize everything. Okay, there's the saying, stressors are bad, discomfort is bad, any kind of mild pain is bad. We need full stability. We hate unpredictability, we hate discomfort, we hate randomness, we hate chance, we hate not being in total control, and we're just aiming for comfort, stability, predictability. That is the goal. Okay, for example, you may be a little sick, you may have a cold, immediately you go to the doctor and it's like, hey, medication, medication, medication. Okay, now, there's nothing necessarily wrong with medication. Okay, I'm not saying never take medication. That would not be a smart move on your part. But a lot of people take more medication than they would need. Okay, if every time you're sick, you're like, more medication, after a while, guess what? I don't know if your immune system is going to be up to par, let's just say. The touristification, as he calls it, of the world, where everything now is scheduled, everything is safe, everything is convenient, everything is comfortable, everything is efficient, and we're really sucking the randomness out of life and the randomness out of who we are. We're slowly dying inside, in a way. He calls this the golden jail, where you go on vacation, let's just say, and instead of having this adventure where things are unpredictable, it's very predictable. You go on the plane, say it's like, it's our fancy vacation. You fly first class, everything's predictable. It's the same first class everywhere. You get there, you go to your same fancy hotel, same fancy hotel. You go on your little tour, it's all pre-planned, it's all scheduled, it's all just very safe. And guess what? There's no sense of aliveness. There is no stressors. Again, you're just in your little cycle of comfort. We try to plan everything. We try to be as precise as possible. A lot of us are prisoners of a certain plan. There's literally no randomness. And again, we're just stuck in routines. And he jokes around here too. If we could make, instead of having the 4 different seasons, just keep everything the same temperature all the time, the same emotions all the time, we would. Okay, that's what we want, stability. This is what our society wants, stability. And again, we're just aiming for that domesticated life. He jokes we used to be free-range human beings, not anymore. Okay, so beware of that. Don't get sucked into that. Okay, if you can predict exactly what your day will look like when you wake up in the morning, maybe you're watching this video in the morning, you're like, if you can, right now, I challenge you, look at your day and you know exactly everything that's going to happen, you should probably feel a little dead inside. It's like, where is the fun in that? You're just going through the motions like a robot in a way. Okay, and there may be a little bit of frustration. Maybe watching this video, so you're like, oh man, I guess I can predict. So there should be a little bit of frustration because we crave that. Okay, as human beings, again, as complex, we crave that aliveness. That's why if you go to, for example, Vegas and you like gamble, it's like that sense of unpredictability. That sense of adventure. That's what you crave. That's what you live for. And this is also what you're trying to rob yourself of in the way you're going about your life. Okay, and what he says here too, and this is another benefit, is instead of trying to forecast and worry about future negative events, because that's what we do. It's like everything must be stable, and we try to maintain everything just being stable. We try to, again, forecast like what could go wrong in the future. Instead of doing that, because you could never ever measure precisely future events or future negative events, let's just say, focus instead on becoming anti-fragile. Instead of just trying to be fragile and maintaining everything so it's okay to be fragile, focus on being anti-fragile and you won't have to worry about future quote-unquote negative events. So practically start going out and seeking out some stressors. Okay, go and seek out some randomness, some uncertainty, some chaos. Okay, you learn to use these stressors instead of hiding from them. Okay, the best form of stability, okay, the best form, as I just mentioned, of not having to always worry about maintaining everything, the same, is to just embrace it and learn to thrive in that. Okay, as soon as you can embrace these stressors, you don't fear the fucking stressors. Okay, and what he says here too is stop being blind to the natural anti-fragility of systems, their ability to take care of themselves. Okay, your ability to cope with this, your ability to grow from it, to take care of yourself, and fight your tendency to harm and fragilize them by not giving them a chance to do so. Okay, stop robbing yourself of all these different opportunities to grow and become more anti-fragile. Okay, because that's what we do. This is what, I've really put an effort into it myself throughout the years. It's like, hey, just go seeking out these new situations, growing from discomfort. Stop labeling it as something bad. My favorite example is the gym. It's like we understand, hey, going to the gym, discomfort, those stressors, that's what makes us grow, but we fail to translate that to all other areas of our life. It's like, oh, it's only in the gym where discomfort is good. Otherwise, no. It's like, hey, it applies everywhere. Right now, if you're comfortable, it's bad. Okay, go seek out discomfort. Start playing with the volatility. Start learning from that information. Start learning how to adapt, how to embrace it. And now you'll be in, what you were seeking in the first place. Now things will be stable. Now things will be comfortable when you're used to being, uncomfortable. That'd be the way of going about it. So to conclude here, okay, with a quote from the book, the best way to verify that you are alive is by checking if you like variations. Okay, that's how you know if you're alive. It's like, hey, are you a living being? Are you complex? Do you like randomness? Do you like variations? Do you like chaos? Do you like stress? Do you like these stressors? If not, time to use this as a wake-up call. So that's what I got out of this book. Of course, it goes a lot more in depth, okay, especially in terms of how to become more anti-fragile, positioning yourself as being anti-fragile in all these different situations. Highly recommend checking it out. And as always, check the comments here below for next week's book. Until next time.